Hi everybody, I'm Tony Wilson here with my good friend and co-host Adrian, right? And this is
The Supernatural and Beyond.
Well, we have delved pretty deep down the rabbit hole. We often say that we don't want to go on a rabbit trail or go too deep in the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because, we want to stay on point. We don't want to put too much information out there. Well, this episode is completely and totally different. What it is, we are in the rabbit hole. We're down the rabbit hole, and it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So, one of our favorite topics is the giants.
The giants.
And how they actually existed.
Yes.
Before the flood. Well, I should say, let me just say, before the flood. I don't want to keeping the timeline straight. Before the flood, the giants actually existed before the flood, and they existed after the flood.
Yes.
And there has been scientific, secular, archaeological proof that we had individuals anywhere from 10 to 36 feet tall. And just to give you an idea of what 36 feet is like, think about your average power pole.
Yes.
That's about 35 feet.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I would just think of buildings, because about a 3-floor building is about 30 feet.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But imagine going out and seeing someone as tall as a power pole and as wide.
Yeah.
And these guys were not, these slow, hokey-pokey kind of guys. They were very swift, agile individuals. And they have been sort of kept quiet.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about how the Smithsonian has kind of put some of these things away. Can you share?
Yeah, it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, right? Because you don't really go to the average museum and see bones of giants, right? So they kind of keep it in the myth area, right? And part of this rabbit hole too, before I answer your question, is you see the soft disclosure or the desensitization of the giant thing, because there was a movie that came out a few years ago called My Big Friendly Giant, right?
I remember that movie. So
I never saw it, or I saw parts of it and fell asleep. But
wasn't that good?
Yeah,
in my opinion. But
my opinion too. But the Big Friendly Giant. And you saw these kind of things, and it's the desensitization of it. But you had the old story, Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so that's like an old legend or old fairy tale about Jack and the Beanstalk. Right? Mm-hmm. And Jack had to do battle with this huge giant, 36 feet or more even. Anyways, back to the topic with the Smithsonian, is they kind of run the whole world, like what goes in, what gets documented. So there's these archaeologists that dig, and they're into civilizations, and they find stuff and they look at it and they say like, oh, there's these huge giant bones, and the Smithsonian says, let me take a look at those, and then boom, they're gone. No more, no records, no nothing. What happened to these bones? And everybody respects the Smithsonian, so they kind of like, well, they thought they were phony or whatever, right? But Peru, the country of Peru, doesn't have any ties with them. So the most recent giant bones that are found and what they find come from Peru. Because these ancient civilizations, they feel like there's ties to the giants. When you look at Stonehenge and these huge stones that we couldn't move with modern day technology, and how did they stand up, and other places all around the world, I believe is fallen angel technology. But also the giants moved those rocks because they were these huge beasts of
36
creatures,
feet tall.
Right? And like, the days of Noah, they had the giants. That's part of the reason why Noah's flood happened. And then after the flood, they existed. Mm-hmm. David fought Goliath. Mm-hmm. Goliath was a giant. And it ties into the days of Noah. But the whole conspiracy with the Smithsonian is there's a cover-up going on with these giants. And then most recently, a lot of people have heard about the giant of Kandahar in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So allegedly, there was I think it was Force Recon Marines. I might be wrong about that. It might have been a Special Forces Army unit.
They were Special Forces.
Well, Force Recon Marines or Special Forces.
So we're saying not the average soldier.
Not the average soldier.
Highly trained individuals.
Yeah, they were on some kind of operation in Kandahar. And what happened was this giant jumped down out of a cave and started doing battle with this unit, this military unit. It wasn't like 100 troops or whatever. It was a small special forces unit.
Yeah, elite, like, highly trained. Yeah,
elite, highly trained. Maybe 12 to like 30 men or something on an operation, top secret. And this giant was big, was smelly, was whatever, and he just ripped these guys apart. And they're like, highly trained, so they know how to take stuff down. But they said their bullets did nothing to this guy. So they're firing like their grenade launchers, and they're like, aim for the head, aim for the head.
Right.
Well, there was a reporter that was with them, and he took all these pictures of these things. This giant of Kandahar, and supposedly he was 30 feet or more or larger. They had to carry his body away with one of those
Sky Crane helicopters.
The Sky Crane helicopters, Chinook, I think is what it's called.
Chinook, yeah.
Yeah,
that's not the Sky Crane, but yes, carry
similar. It's the military version of it, I think. Or they carried him away in some kind of helicopter like that, and the body disappeared. Now, is he in Area 51? Did they dissect him? Who knows? The reporter, all his footage was taken by the intelligence networks in the military. They wanted to see it. So all that's left is the artist rendition, because he was an artist. And when I first saw this, I'm like, yeah, I believe in giants, but this giant of Kandahar, do giants still exist? What happened was he drew it, and I saw the drawing. I didn't believe it, but then I saw it on Sid Roth's It's Supernatural.
It's Supernatural, yeah.
Yeah, It's Supernatural, and he interviewed the guy. Well, the guy's a Christian, and he documented it, and he's like, look, I had to draw it because all my footage was taken away.
Right.
And so this footage, the bones, everything linked to giants is taken away unless you look at what comes out of Peru. So that's part of that rabbit hole where it just disappears, right? So the evidence of giants is hard to find. You can still find it on the internet, but it's there. And why is that important today is because it links what happened in the past, pre-flood, shows evidence of the flood, shows evidence the Bible's true, shows evidence of what happened after the flood, and it's a prerequisite of what's going to happen because the Messiah said in the end times it'll be as it was in the days of Noah.
Interesting you should mention that. You were saying that the evidence of giants has been, taken away from us and put in certain places. Well, the thing of it is, there are stories told by Native Americans and other indigenous people in various parts of the world where they say that there are underground cities.
I see where we're going with this, yeah.
And that there are a race of very tall people. And if we go back to we're going back to the Tower of Babel, or the Tower of Babel, where they said that Nimrod, who happened to be for lack of a better way to describe it, emperor of the world, he became a Geborim, a giant.
Okay.
And there are pictures or reliefs showing him holding a full-grown lion.
I've seen
lions ain't no joke.
Yeah, so lions are big creature, and he had it as like a pet.
Yeah, like a little kitten.
Yeah, like a little kitten.
Yeah, he's like
a little tiny kitten.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
The thing of it is, the giants and giant peoples do exist because, like you said, in the days of Noah, and we're going to go back to the celestial beings in the beginning.
Right.
In particular, the Watchers. They made a covenant to come down and mate with the daughters of men.
Mount Hermon, where they swore that oath to each other.
Exactly. So now what we have here is the celestial beings, we have human beings, and now they're starting to mix and mingle.
And what did it make?
It created the giants.
The giants.
There are stories of Noah, during the time of Noah, that time frame when men lived to be about 900 years old.
Yeah.
Of how there were all of these interactions with all of these different celestial type beings with human women.
Right.
Another part of that is found in our favorite book, the Book of Enoch.
Yes, Enoch.
How Enoch went and interceded for these watchers.
Yes.
But the Creator said, no, you guys committed the unpardonable sin, you're going to be punished.
Yeah.
Period. So that judgment, like we spoke earlier of Sheol, where some of these celestial beings are actually being held in captivity, they are waiting judgment.
Yeah. And it says they're bound with chains, and then it says other ones that had rocks piled upon them where they couldn't get out. But it says that before the end days, before the judgment, they were going to be allowed to come on the earth. And I think we're going to have a race of giants that come back. And I think some of that ties in with the aliens. Because I believe that the aliens are these demonic, not demonic because they created the demons, but they're the entities that we're talking about came to Earth from
the stars,
the outer space, the heavenlies, so to speak, from beyond the firmament. They come here, and we've already had like the alien soft disclosure thing because it's been in the news. The Navy admitted it, the Air Force admitted it. Now they're supposed to report it because it's like, what kind of technology is this? We don't have that technology. Right? And it's the soft disclosure, but for the Messiah to say it'll be as it was in the days of Noah, there were all these giants and they were cannibalistic. 36 feet tall, some of them, and some of them 12 feet tall. And it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if there were even taller ones. You know what I mean?
That's what they've said.
There could be taller ones, and even if there weren't back then, there's going to come a time when they are now. And we look at these giant people, like I'm not going to mention names, but some big athletes that are kind of tall. Maybe Andre the Giant was one of the famous ones.
One of the wrestlers, yeah.
But he's a big guy and stuff like that. But I think these actual giant beings will be bigger than him. Bigger than some of these tall athletes and big athlete guys. But it's part of this end time stuff, and you see it in music videos where they want to have relations with the
aliens.
The aliens come down and all this kind of fallen god worship and stuff, and it ties together.
Yeah, well, here's another little one of those rabbit trails within the rabbit hole. It's that you mentioned that they were cannibals.
Yeah.
And that they were eating people.
Yeah.
I mean, because there just wasn't enough food to feed these bad boys.
And that goes back to our extra biblical text, like Enoch, the Book of Giants, Jubilees.
Also with the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes.
Also with the Book of Enoch, there was a Book of the Giants.
Yes, Book of the Giants.
So it's there.
And the War Scroll. And all that stuff. All
of the evidence is there to show that these giant creatures existed. And just to give you a quick another little rabbit trail within the rabbit hole, what wound up happening is that the Creator was not happy with what happened. So what he did, he decreed that like Cain killed Abel, these giants would kill each other.
Yes.
And as they killed each other, what wound up happening, these became the evil spirits and demons that roam the earth today.
Yeah.
So there is a connection.
Yeah.
But this is not being taught in the institutionalized religious organizations. They want to keep you in check, in line. Yeah. They don't want you to actually know the truth.
Right. And exactly what you said, Tony, is like, this is where the demons came from. Because these fallen entities had the relations with the human race, and the giants were born, right? But the human race, we're mind, we're body, we're spirit. When we die, our spirit goes, Sheol, heaven, Abraham's bosom. But these fallen beasts, these giants, where do their spirits go? Their spirits can't go to heaven. They can't go to Sheol. They're stuck on the earth, and that's where we get evil spirits, or we get more commonly referenced as demons.
Right.
That possess people, and those demons are cast into the abyss and wherever, cursed to wander the dry places.
Dry places, yeah.
You know, and they're thirsty spirits and thirsty demons. So this is a huge rabbit hole. This is a lot of fun being in this rabbit hole and taking these rabbit trails all over the place.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah, and we want to thank all our viewers and our listeners. Thank you for being in this rabbit hole with us. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Leave a comment down below. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more content.